When Andrew Yang dropped out of the 2020 presidential election, that was a really sad day for me. I was really hoping that he was going to become the next president of the United States and implement a universal basic income. Give us all $1,000 per month. Or in other words, $12,000 a year that we wouldn't have to work at some shitty job for, just be given to us. That seemed like it actually had the potential to noticeably improve my quality of life, something which all previous presidents from my lifetime have utterly failed at. Now, when Yang dropped out, he said something along the lines of, I'll support whoever the Democratic nominee winds up being, but I don't want to make an endorsement at the present time unless, one of the other candidates comes out in favor of a universal basic income. Now, while I'm not really a fan of this attitude that, I'll just endorse whoever the Democratic nominee winds up being, I am a fan of this attitude that I'm not going to endorse anyone right now unless they come out in favor of UBI. It's important to me that we put pressure on our presidential candidates to be candidates of substance, right? They have to know when they go into office that they're expected to get shit done and actually make people's lives better. They have to show that they have workable plans for dealing with problems like poverty and wage slavery. They need to either provide us with some kind of basic income that we don't have to work at some shitty job for, or give us direct access to the resources that we need without a price tag. They can just have machines do all the jobs that nobody wants to do. So it's been pretty frustrating witnessing this stubborn unwillingness from both Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden to adopt UBI, something which could more swiftly help out more people than all of their policies put together. Now, while neither of these candidates are particularly ideal for me, there is one that I do prefer over the other, and that is Bernie Sanders. So it was kind of disappointing that Andrew Yang recently came out and endorsed Joe Biden. If it was because Biden decided to adopt UBI, then that actually would have been really exciting for me. But that's not what happened. Let's go ahead and hear from Yang.
Where do you see the race right now? Where do you see this going for Joe Biden?
I believe that Joe Biden will be the Democratic nominee, and I've always said I'm going to support whoever the nominee is, so I hereby am endorsing Joe Biden to be not just the nominee for the Democratic Party, but the next president of the United States. And I say this, having supported Bernie Sanders in 2016, Bernie was an inspiration for me, inspired my run, but the math says Joe is our prohibitive nominee. We need to bring the party together. We need to start working on defeating Donald Trump in the fall.
So this seems to actually be losing sight of why it is that beating Trump actually matters. And of course, the reason it matters is policy. Trump has some shitty policies that we got to replace with better policies that actually noticeably improve people's quality of life. Biden is not going to do that.
The younger generation now tells me how tough things are. Give me a break. No. I have no empathy for it. Give me a break. Because here's the deal, guys. We decided we were going to change the world, and we did.
Biden just seems so substanceless, like as though the only reason he's running for president is so that he can become president before he dies, right? He just wants to have that accomplishment. Because otherwise, I would expect him to have better policies than what he has. With what he's got, it seems like he's got no interest in making my life better, right? That's why he doesn't have anything like, here's a basic income that you don't have to work at some shitty job for, or here's direct access to the resources that you need without a price tag. Meanwhile, Bernie Sanders has an affordable housing for all policy.
I've had many personal conversations with Joe about the impact of the fourth industrial revolution on the middle class. I believe that he's the right man for the job to help us not just defeat Donald Trump, but govern the country in the years ahead.
What? Dude, unless Biden unveils some awesome new policies that he didn't previously have, I have no reason to think that he's going to do any better than Trump. In fact, I'm kind of worried he might actually do worse.
And the question is, I guess I have for you, is what does he need to do to bring the Yang gang and the Sanders folks
Yeah,
to him?
and what do you say to your supporters who
Yeah.
might support Sanders still?
What I'd say is that we need to start doing the work of improving Americans' lives on the ground, because too many Americans have seen their way of life disintegrate over the last number of years. And Bernie has been calling out those problems and tapping into the frustration in the right way. And so if Joe says this is going to be returned to business as usual, he's in danger of losing many of the young people that came out for Bernie that supported my campaign.
Yep. And unfortunately, a Biden presidency does seem to represent a return to business as usual. I mean, unless he comes out with some, awesome new policy that'll, help me and all sorts of other people in a noticeable way, right? Noticeably improve our quality of life. So far, it's not looking like Biden has any intention of doing that. He doesn't seem to give a shit about the American people. He just wants to be president.
He has to show that, look, we know that this economy is not working for many, many Americans, millions of Americans who feel left behind.
Give me a break.
And you can't just say we're going to swing the pendulum back to the Obama-Biden years. We have to actually start doing the work that activated people to vote for Donald Trump, that activated people to get out for Bernie Sanders. I believe Joe is open to that message. His heart's in the right place. He's a really, really patriotic, public servant, decent man. He wants to do right by the American people.
No. I have no empathy for it. Give me a break. They have come up with an idea for a guaranteed annual wage. So because they're worried there's going to be so many middle-class jobs displaced, that's the only thing that can be done. And so I spoke, and I complimented them on their social consciousness. I wasn't being a wise guy. But I said, guys, you're missing the point. That's not how America's built. And I quoted my dad. I know everybody kidding me in the White House, always quoting my dad or my dad, a graceful high school educated guy. Well, my dad was a white-collar worker, a salesperson, but there was nothing to sell after Cole died. And we moved to Delaware where there were actually good jobs. And every time someone would lose a job, my dad would say, Joey, my word to this, a job's about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity. It's about respect. It's about your place in the community. It's about being able to look your kid in the eye and say, honey, it's going to be okay. That's what it's about. Dignity.
Yeah, I'm not voting for that guy. I'm not voting for Joe Biden unless he adopts some awesome new policy that seems like it could actually make my life better. Like if it's Biden versus Trump in the general election, I just have no reason to vote. I might even just give up on the political system, because like right now it looks like people are mostly voting based on name recognition. They're kind of throwing substantive policy to the wind. That doesn't matter so much. Let's just beat Donald Trump with someone else that is just as well known as he is. It's just like, what is the fucking point if they're not going to implement good policy? So yeah, while I have been a Yang supporter during the 2020 election, obviously Andrew Yang and I don't agree on everything. I don't think Joe Biden is worth voting for. Technically, there are things he can do to turn that around, but so far he hasn't done that, and I have no good reason to vote for him. Those are my thoughts. You guys can let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comment section. That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share it with other people. If you're interested in watching my future videos, please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you all in the next one. So have a good one, guys, and peace.